Big game. The spread has dropped. Am I right? It's dropped about a half a point, depending on where you are, down to 2.5. So we'll start with that. What does that say about where the money and where the smart bettors are going Sunday night?
Yeah, well, this tells you that they are on the birds. In fact, we actually spoke to PointsBet a couple of days ago, and they said most of the money and roughly about 75% of the bets and money, depending on the book, have been coming on the Eagles. And they confirmed that to us and said we're usually pretty reluctant, as you would expect, to move off of the three-point line. But if the Eagles keep getting hammered the way they are, we're going to have to do it. Lo and behold, I think that happened sometime earlier today. So the bettors are back in the Eagles. It's one of those games. Cowboys typically get a lot of action, but the local books in this case are taking heavy action on the Eagles, as are the Vegas books. So money and bets coming on the Eagles. Now, the Sharps haven't gotten involved yet, but right now definitely trending in the Eagles' direction.
Now, Kyle, you wonder with the news that just recently came, because that line moved before the injury reports, where the Cowboys are relatively clean, it seems like now, where you had the Eagles, Cooper and Cobb and Collins, they were all questionable, and it seemed like more likely not to play. Now it seems more likely to play. So do we think that line might change again?
It might, and I think we're going to find out how dialed in the books are with what's really going on. Yep. And whether they had kind of already priced this in 12-plus hours ago, or if now they're going to have to react to the news that the Cowboys are, quote-unquote healthier than we thought. All of these guys seem like they're a little bit banged up. So, I kind of had the feeling they were going to play. This is a big game, and if you could be out there, you could be out there. But, not a great sign that the Eagles have so many guys already listed as out, and it looks like a lot of the Cowboys' questionables are going to be in. So we'll find out, I guess, is the answer to that.
All right, let's take a couple look at some of the trends in this game. The home favorite here, they're going to be a favorite. It was 3, and they're coming off of 3 straight losses. This is, from my understanding, not a good spot for Dallas.
No, so I'm just going to rattle off some of these trends. These are Jason Garrett trends. My personal feeling is he's a terrible coach in general, but check this out. Cowboys, 4-14 against the spread as a home favorite after a loss under Garrett. 2-10 against the spread, and 3-9 straight up as a home favorite of 3 points or less under Garrett. 9-19 against the spread overall when favored by 3 points or less in any situation under Garrett. So, a number of trends in the Garrett era, the unfortunate Garrett era, working against the Cowboys here in this spot, coming off a loss, home favorite, all that. Short home favorite, I should say.
Yeah, and just to throw a couple more that I want your thoughts on the flip side of things, the Eagles have covered the spread in 11 of their last 13 road games following a road loss, and each of the last 4 Sunday night games, Kyle, have been won by the underdogs. So are those good trends to look at too?
I think so. I particularly like the Eagles' road trend. They seem to play relatively well on the road. If you think about some of the really frustrating, either too close to call or bad losses over the last couple of seasons, they've come at home. Doug Peterson teams seem to play well on the road, and they actually do really well on the over on the road. The Eagles are 19-8. On road, the over is 19-8 on Doug Peterson road games since 2016. Now, that's the only over trend we have working in the favor this week. But, yes, in general, I think the Eagles play better. I feel better about the Eagles on the road, weirdly.
Yeah, I'm with you on that, and that's crazy to say, but that's the world we live in. So before we get maybe like an official pick here for you, I want to get in some notable prop bets that stuck out to me, and then you can add whatever you like and maybe give your thoughts on what I'm throwing at you. So here we go. Eagles total touchdowns, over 2.5, under 2.5, minus 118 for the over, minus 113 for the under. Cowboys total points, over under 25.5. Total game touchdowns, over under 5.5, which I think is a little high, but we'll see depending on what your thoughts are for the game. And then another one, first team to score. The Eagles are plus 100. And if we think the trend of the Eagles' slow starts continues, you might want to lean the other way there, or do you like the value for the Eagles for the first team to score?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot wrapped up in the coin toss there, so I'd rather take like a first quarter scoring prop and just fade the Eagles, something like that. I kind of like the under on most of those. Our peg here is for the under in general, so I think most of those kind of work in line with our trend. A few quick stats to back that up, and I'll just rattle these off too. The under is 176 against the spread. Division game set at 49 points or more, 29 and 15 in division primetime games that close with a total of 49 or higher. I know we're right around 49 right now. And 19 and 10 in NFC East games when the total is 49 points or higher. And 7 and 2 overall in games between the Eagles and Cowboys with a closing total of 49 and higher. So all of the trends here pointing in the direction of the under. So on all of those props, I'd probably either stay away from them or take the under if I had to. Or I guess I could hedge my own bet, too.
Yeah, there you go. Road underdog of 3 points or less in division road games, coming off a loss, 59-39-7. That's the spot. Philly is in this week. Home favorites of 3 points or less, coming off a loss when favored 6-1. That's the spot that Dallas is in. We got an interesting over-under. It's like 49 in the game. Do you have a feel on the style of the game?
Yeah, so, it ticked up. It opened at around 47 in some spots. It's come up. It came back down. It's either going to settle like 48.5, 49 here. We, for the reasons just listed, like the under. I think from a strategic standpoint, you have a couple of banged-up corners for the Cowboys. Looks like they're going to play. But the Eagles really have nobody to test them without Deshaun Jackson. I mean, again, I think I mentioned this to you guys a couple of weeks ago that I would maybe take a flyer on a Nelson Aguilar total yards prop because he's the one guy who could stretch the field. And sure enough, he just missed the pass a couple of weeks ago. Otherwise, it would have hit. But I think that's really the Eagles' only chance. So they're they tend to play conservative a little bit. The Cowboys have wide receivers. They're playing. They're not out. But again, they too are banged up. I feel like we're going to see a lot of Zeke this game. He seems to be hitting his stride. So if you're the Cowboys, expect a lot of running. These games, tend to err on the closer, low-scoring side. I think both offenses have struggled really to get it going. So, who knows? Maybe they surprise us with a shootout. But to me, given all those trends, given the injuries on both sides of the ball for both teams, it just feels like I don't think we're going to see an all-out shootout here. I don't think either team really possesses that ability. And the Eagles get back Mills, so hopefully their secondary has a little bit of self-respect here, and my guess is plays a little bit of a softer defense to keep things underneath in this one, lest they just continue to get abused back there. So I'm all leaning under everywhere here.
Kyle Scott, crossingbroad.com. All right, so what is the biggest odd trend feel in how you are going to bet this game?
Okay, so for an odd trend, so I'm sure you're aware of Pro Football Doc, Dr. Chow,
yes.
And he now has his injury index. Now, it might change after the recent news, but as of the other day, he had the Cowboys as his biggest risk in terms of injury index. The last 4 teams he's listed as the biggest injury downgrade have all been losses over the last 4 weeks, and all of them, the underdogs have won the game. So he's downgraded the favorite, and sure enough, the underdog has won the game. So he downgraded the Cowboys. That is worth looking out for. In terms of how I'm going to bet it, I said I like an Aguilar prop. I like a Zeke prop where you can get it, some over-under totals on those two guys. But I know we've talked about kind of the winning margin thing here. You can get the Eagles from 1-6 at plus 360 or 7-12 at plus 600. I kind of like that. I think if the Eagles are going to cover here, they're going to win outright. These games tend not to be blowouts, so I would get some positive value there, getting a narrow win margin. Might just scatter a couple of roulette chips on both of those margins, see what happens.
All right. For more on how to bet the game, go to crossingbroad.com. Kyle Scott gives us the trends each week, and there's some really good ones over there on this Eagles-Cowboys game. It's Sunday night, and you can hear the countdown to kickoff with Tony Bruno and company. 5 o'clock, Tollman Joe's in Philly to get you ready for the action. And, of course, listen to the game right here on 97.3 ESPN. All right, Kyle. Thanks, man.
Thanks, guys.